Hello, everybody, and welcome to Livingston. This is our podcast, Welcome to Livingston. We are so happy to be here today. My name is Don Putkela.
And I'm Angela Putkela, and we're with the Putkela Group Real Estate Professionals.
And we are so happy to start off today's episode and welcome Mike Cieszkowski from Legacy Fitness. How are you doing today, Mike?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
No, we are really excited to have you on today. We're going to be talking about Legacy Fitness. And I guess just to start it off, want to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what your company is.
My name is Mike Cieszkowski. I'm the Director of Fitness at the Legacy Center. And the Legacy Center in whole is a sports complex in Brighton, and I focus on the fitness aspect of things there.
Great. And this is the perfect time because everybody's coming off of the holidays and thinking about the new year. And I feel like fitness-wise, this is sort of your Super Bowl in a way, right?
Absolutely. We always say we have two New Years. We have September and we have January, and everybody's looking to get back in shape or get in shape. So I think we got a lot of options for people to do that.
You get that big influx of people at least for a month, and then it's your job to try to keep them, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. We have a pretty solid retention rate there. So we're excited.
Cool. Now, a lot of people know where Legacy Center is driving on 23, and you can see it off the freeway and such. And I know a lot of people have been there, but for those who haven't, what does your fitness center look like within the center?
Yeah, so the fitness center is tucked away a little bit. We are in the back of the building that's connected to the dome side. Within there, we have squat racks, dumbbells, free weights, some cardio equipment, and we have just renovated a room that we call our training camp room now, and so we run some group fitness classes out of there as well.
Wonderful.
Sounds like a big variety.
It is, yeah. Yep.
So what makes the fitness center different compared to other places people might go?
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing that separates us, in my opinion, is that we offer a lot of different options, but we run our groups a little bit differently. We take more of a personal training approach as opposed to a group class all the time, which is a very common and not a bad approach. We actually offer groups like that where everybody's doing the same thing, but we try and create a program that allows for more variation from person to person for, if modifications need to be made because of bad knees or shoulders. We have a couple trainers on the floor during our Legacy Fit group training, and that gives us the opportunity to treat everybody like an individual. And it allows them to get the results they are looking for. Now, that being said, we also offer the training camp option, which is what you would think of with a traditional group fitness class. Everybody's doing everything. It's based off time, and, there's loud music and, some dancing sometimes, not me. But we do offer a little bit of everything. Yeah, I guess that would be what makes us a little bit different than everybody else.
That's great. It sounds like a lot of different options. And then for those that really want a customized experience, it has that there too. Absolutely.
And that's beyond the group training. We do offer personal training. So if somebody did want to contact me or one of our other trainers, we can do that, set up a specialized program for them, whether they don't feel comfortable in a group setting or if they have some special needs beyond just a modification here or there. We have those options. And then, we're starting to get into what we call semi-private training as well, where it'd be like 2 or 3 people in a group doing specialized programming as well. So there's lots of options for people.
No, that sounds really good because I saw on your website you have like the 30-day challenge, right?
Right. Yeah, so we're running a 30-day challenge in January. We've been running a 6-week challenge all year, and we will continue doing that. But we have a specialized 30-day challenge coming up in January, which will include a 7-day detox. So it's a very specific nutrition protocol for 7 days that allows, the way I explain it to people, it maximizes your output in terms of your body detoxifying, getting rid of some of that stuff that we input during the holiday season. And it, minimizes the input, so it's a lower calorie, lower input type of program, and you do that for a week, and then it leads right into the 3 weeks of weight training or group fitness classes, I should say, overall. Yeah.
Right. Well, because I noticed on your website and then the 6-week challenge a little bit as well, because so many people, they sign up for a gym, they go to the gym, and it's, 30 treadmills lined up, and next to that is 30 ellipticals, and that's what they get on, and that's what they think their workout is. Not that that's bad, but you guys are a little bit different then.
Absolutely. So the 6-week challenge in general, there's a lot of pieces to it that do make it different. There's the accountability piece. Okay, so with the 6-week challenge, you actually have an opportunity to earn your money back. So there's an upfront cost, but parameters are set based off of current body weight. So if you want to lose some weight, we even have some people who want to gain muscle that can do that, but they can lose weight, they can lose body fat. And if they hit those parameters from a body fat standpoint, from an attendance standpoint, from a nutrition standpoint, they can then at that point either roll their cost from the 6-week challenge into a membership moving forward, or we've had people who said, thank you, that was awesome, but I'm moving, or it's just not going to work out on my schedule, but I'm really happy with the results, and they actually walk away with their money. So it gives them that opportunity, and that's something that, like I said, we'll continue to run throughout the year because we've had really good success with it. And the people have as well, losing, anywhere between 5 and 15 pounds over that 6-week period.
It sounds really healthy, definitely a healthy way to do things. And I know a lot of times people get caught up in how that all works.
It is, and it's very easy to try and do things quickly.
Right.
It's New Year's. We got to get things done quickly. I need to be in shape by whatever. But if you can look at it and just say, listen, it's the end of December, and I've got a trip coming up at spring break. All right, 3-4 months. That gives you a lot of time to do things and really make an impact. And it's a lot more healthy. It's a lot easier to say, I'm going to do this from January, February, March into April, as opposed to, oh man, it's early March. I've got 3 weeks.
Right.
What do I do? And that just sets people up for failure. So if we can get people on the right track early on and essentially not really let them leave, right? Because we've got all the accountability pieces built into it. They're constantly in contact with myself or another one of the trainers as far as their nutrition. And they're required to be at a certain number of groups per week, and they sign in for that. And so it's that accountability piece that we all need, myself included.
Right. Oh, it's the feared A word.
Yes,
like accountability.
Exactly. And it's hard because, accountability is a good thing, right? But we look at accountability as a bad thing. Sometimes we look at things that are difficult as a bad thing. But ultimately, just because something is hard doesn't mean that it's a bad thing. It's more difficult, but you got to push through it, and in the end you get stronger for it.
It's kind of like having a coach, I feel like. Absolutely. Right? Because a coach is going to push you harder. A coach you're going to want to work hard for, even if you let things slide for yourself.
Correct. Right. Yeah, and I actually do I do all the sports performance training at Heartland High School as well. I've done that for almost 15 years now, and that's what I try and get across to the kids. I use high-level athletes in whatever sport they're talking about. I'm like, do you think that person has a coach? I'm like, well, yeah. Like, well, then why aren't you willing to listen to that coach? The highest paid, the most skilled people in the world have people that they follow, that they look to for guidance, that they look to for coaching. And so everybody needs some accountability. And I said, myself included, there are people that I have write programs for me at times just so that I feel more accountability than just to myself and the stuff that I wrote down on a piece of paper.
Right. So, no, that's really good. So how does that aspect work? Someone walks in off the street and they say, I want to sign up. I've never had a personal trainer before. I've just kind of done it myself. How does that process work with you guys?
Now, are you looking for the 6-week challenge or just for personal training?
Well, I guess both. You have someone, it's the end of the year. They're like you said, I need to get in shape for spring break.
Okay.
And they walk through the door.
Yeah. So with the challenge piece, I'll go that route because they're very similar. Ultimately, what we're looking to do with people is they're going to sit down 15 to 30 minutes with a trainer at the very beginning, kind of go over goals. They're going to understand everything about how our program works. They're going to understand what they are required to do nutrition-wise, group training-wise. We do it's called a 3D body scan, so we get body fat composition, so we can actually look at the results that they're getting aren't just weight loss. Yeah. We're actually improving their body composition. We're gaining muscle. We're losing body fat. And so that's the first piece of it. And then once they go through that, they have They get some direction on nutrition. They get handouts that kind of give a general idea as to what they should be eating over the next 6 weeks. And then there's 3 scans through the 6-week period just to keep them, even further level of accountability. They're also required to send in some information about what they've been eating to one of the trainers. Again, just I'm going to keep saying it, but the accountability is
right. Yeah.
And it's that communication, because our goal is not to get 2,000 people through the door and hope that, they forget to cancel. Our goal is to get a really solid group of people in there. And we pride ourselves on our retention rate. We've been open we just had our 10-year anniversary in November. And we have people that have been there since that first year.
Congratulations.
So
that's awesome.
it's really cool. And that's, the community is a big aspect to it. Sometimes you have to prod people along a little bit because they get lost talking to each other as opposed to actually doing the workout. But it's a really cool place to be when you're around like-minded people that are working towards the same goal. And It's hard when you're older and you're out of high school, you're out of college, you're not on a team anymore. Mm-hmm. It's hard to find a group of like-minded people just randomly. And so it's a really good place to do that.
That's really good. And to be able to see people getting results. That's what I heard from that is, so often people join a gym or they don't have that accountability. They're not getting the results. And maybe they're quitting just before they could start seeing the results.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Wonderful. So I was going to ask, with your classes and such, online. So I was on your Facebook page as well. Okay. And, seeing people do different exercises than you would think that you would normally see with someone going to the gym. And I wanted to kind of ask you about some of the variety of things that you guys do.
Okay. So we change up our programming every 6 weeks. So it's a new set of exercises that we run every 6 weeks. And what that allows us to do is it allows us to see progress on something. It allows us to get people good at something, an exercise, whether it's a squat or a lunge or whatever. It gives them an opportunity to see progress. And then at the end of that 6 weeks, we typically transition to another exercise that we would call a progression, something that's a little bit more difficult, or at the very least works the same muscle groups, but in a different way. And so every 6 weeks, things change up. In the training camp classes that we run, it's more of a timing structure change. And with the Legacy Fit, we do different exercises. We started the sled pushes today, as I told you. So, it's a matter of seeing progress, making sure that people are progressing on the weights that they're using, if they're capable of it. Like I said, when somebody first comes in, all they have to do is more than they've been doing, and they will see progress. That being said, if somebody's been there for a period of time, you have to make sure and hold them accountable that they are pushing themselves on the weight, because it's very easy to just do what you've been doing. I use 20 pounds for this, or I use 25 pounds for that. And ultimately, I think one of the things that you probably saw with the social media pages was that you're seeing a lot more weight training.
Yes.
As opposed to cardiovascular. Angela, going to your point earlier, you had mentioned, walking. Walking is actually basically all that I do from a extended cardiovascular standpoint. I will walk on the days that I'm not lifting weights, and then on the other days I will do weight training and, a little bit, maybe a short burst on a rower or a bike. But ultimately, we try and do more strength training movements because it can be scaled a little bit better. If you think about it, if you go out for a run, there comes a point where all you can do is run faster or further.
That's true.
And when you get to that point, it's like, well, I don't have that much time to run that far, and I can't run that fast because the body's not going to do it. And so we can continue to see progress with weight training forever, where you can't do that from just
That's a great point.
move really fast standpoint. And going back to, one of the things that you had mentioned before, ultimately, we want to make sure that people are moving, they're getting stronger, they're feeling better. And in the end, the nutrition is going to be the biggest piece for them for getting the results they're looking for.
To get the right fuel.
Yeah. I tell people a lot of times, like, what you eat and don't eat is going to dictate whether or not you gain or lose weight. Now, the exercise that you do during that time is going to determine kind of how you look when you're done. If all you do is just cardio and you don't really strengthen and build muscle at all, when you lose that weight, you're not going to love what you see afterwards. But if you can do the weight training piece of it while losing weight, losing body fat, then you look a little bit more the way that people think they will look when they lose weight.
Right.
That makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
Now, what is a sled push?
A sled push is a sled or prowler. You basically just load up a sled and it has handles and you push it. I mean, you can do it. think of high school football players, but we customize it. You can we put 10 pounds on there. But the nice thing is at our facility, we have 2 full indoor football fields. So we have 70 plus yards wide by 120 yards from the width of the soccer field, to where we have a lot of space to be able to do that. That's not always the best selling point for people when they've done it, but usually it does help to have some space to get out there. And the other thing too is, like, especially during this time of year in Michigan, it's hard to be cramped up inside all the time.
Right.
And I just don't feel that. Because I don't have to be. I don't have to be cramped into an office. I can get out. I can run. I can do those types of things because we have space, and that's another benefit of coming to Legacy.
Exactly. Right. A lot of places don't have that much space to be able to do this different
exactly
type of stuff,
you know there's so many people,
cool.
they go into, if they have a community gym or such, they're in a little small area. They have the 6 machines that they know that are there, right. And maybe they know how to use 3 of them.
Then they go back to their actual office. So it's like, honest to goodness, to be able to just kind of stretch and have room.
Exactly.
Right. Now, do most people come in for the group workouts, or do people come in and they have like their individualized plan and they just come in to lift for an hour?
Yep. So we are actually, everybody that comes to our facility trains with somebody. So you're either doing performance training, which we have another department that does sports performance training for high school and college athletes. So a lot of our college athletes are coming home right now from college, so they're off wherever they are and they're back, they're doing training. And then from an adult standpoint, everybody is either working directly with a trainer, one-on-one or small group, or they are in one of our classes.
Great. It's nice to have that support. So you're not just out on an island when you're there at Legacy.
Right.
You have that support and those people. Now, what are some of the common mistakes that you see people make sometimes?
Trying to do things too fast or too aggressively. And like we talked about before, it's focusing all their energy on the gym.
Gotcha.
And not putting their energy into the nutrition side of things. It doesn't have to be a crazy diet by any means. In fact, one of the things that I talk about, I mentioned it earlier, the detox plan. It sounds a little gimmicky, but I promise it's not. It's just a structured plan that has a couple of supplements that increase liver function, which again, it helps with that output, right? It helps the body do what it's supposed to do. But point being, what I tell people is the biggest benefit that you're going to get to that beyond losing 3 to 10 pounds in a week is I don't want to say the relationship with food, but just like kind of resetting your schedule. When you have a plan set for you, this is what I'm doing at breakfast, lunch, snack, dinner. Mm-hmm. It takes all the thinking out of it. It's very simple. And then you realize at the end of the day, at the end of the week, I'm really not that hungry. I feel good. I'm sleeping better. And oh, by the way, I lost 5 pounds. That's a pretty good thing. And so the ability to set up a plan that they're able to do long-term is huge. And so, I think people trying to do things too fast, and then we referenced it earlier, but it's just thinking, I want to lose weight. I need to do cardio.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Okay. And there's a way to make that work, but that is far from the only way to make it work.
Right. And probably certainly not the healthiest either.
And it anything can be done well, but it's probably not the best way to do it. No.
Right.
Right. So, how do you work with people that, come in with limitations, they have injuries and such? I mean, a big part of what I hear from you is personalized plans for each individual, right?
Right. Yeah. So it's not, in our groups, the plans aren't personalized, but they're customized, I would say.
Okay.
Okay. So every human on the planet is kind of limited to the number of movements that they're capable of doing. Everything that we do falls into a movement category. Knee dominant movements, hip dominant, and that's basically squats and deadlifts, right? There's two different types of things. We can push things, we can pull things, and we can do core work. So everything that we do falls into those categories, right? From there, I can look at somebody or we can talk and I can see them. Some people are going to struggle with single leg movements. Some people are going to struggle with a shoulder. So we can make modifications with that. And so the nice thing about the way that our groups are set up, we usually have 2 or 3 trainers on the floor, and our groups are anywhere between 8 and usually 16 people. Okay. Now, of those, let's say that we have a big group and there's 16 people. Chances are 10 of those people have been there for a long time. They kind of know what they're doing. Yeah, they'll need a little bit of help or a little bit of a push, but we could then take those other 6 people and put a trainer with each 2. So it's almost like they're getting some personal training, and then you get a feel for what they're capable of doing, and then you can make modifications. So usually during that first 6 weeks, there's a lot of changes that are made for somebody that's just getting back to it. Mm-hmm. But by the time they get through 6 weeks, they feel pretty confident with what they're capable of doing, and they can kind of jump into the plan. But there will always be people that need modifications. There's certain things that I don't do that I still program, because most people are good with it. But we don't force anybody into any exercise because there's so many different ways to do the same thing.
Got you.
That makes sense. So for somebody who's a beginner, how would they get started with you guys, and what advice would you give them?
So to get started, we do have, the link is in the show notes. So Legacy Center, Michigan /fitness, that will take you to the site, and you can get all the information. Leanne, who unfortunately couldn't be here today, is probably the person that you would talk to, at least at this point. But they would set up a consultation. We kind of went over what the consultation entails earlier, but they would set up that consultation and just decide if it's something that would make sense for them. And then she would help guide them. Is it the New Year's challenge? Is it a 6-week challenge? Is it personal training or small group training? Our job is to make sure that people get the results they're looking for, and we're not going to get that if we place them into the wrong spot. So we want to have a conversation. Right. It can go a long way when you just open up and make sure, that everybody understands what's involved.
Got you. Now, do a lot of people sign up for that 6-week challenge as their intro, I guess?
Yes. Yeah, we've found over the past year, we actually just incorporated about a year ago at this point, and it's been really great. We've more than, I think we're at a point where we've tripled our membership over this past year. A lot of things that changed, and it's been really fun. And we're going to continue doing that, hopefully into a new facility that Legacy is in the process of hopefully putting up, which will be, we refer to as the medical wellness facility, which will be 100,000 square foot of variety of things, but fitness will have a place in there, and there'll be a pool and locker rooms and a large health club type of feel, hopefully coming in 2025.
Wow.
Wonderful. Now, do you guys have locker rooms right now?
We do. Yeah, we have some locker rooms. And we have 1, 2, 3 showers, some lockers, bathrooms. Yeah, there's a little bit of everything for what you need. But most people come in, work out, head home.
Got you.
It's such a big facility. It's exciting to hear that you guys are expanding, and it's really neat. And in terms of just the culture of everything there, one of my good friends goes there, and we had mentioned that she's the one that suggested to have you on board here and stuff. And she just raved and just, in terms of everybody there, and just such a great experience.
Well, I'm glad. Thank you, Megan. I appreciate it. But going back to what we talked about before, Megan has been there for, I don't know, it's coming up on 7 or 8 years now. And, it's just, she's a huge advocate for what we do. She's brought a lot of people in, and
so positive. She's fantastic. Yes. She's actually going to be our guest next week.
That's awesome.
So it'll be kind of a cool thing.
Yeah.
But,
so I wanted to ask real quick though, what are some of the more impressive transformations you guys have seen?
Yeah. We had a guy not too long ago go through the 1 week detox and lost like 15 or 16 pounds in a week. But when you look, that's not, that it's not always the most common thing. But what we're looking at is our goal with the 6-week transformation is trying to get people to lose somewhere between 2 and 5% body fat, which usually works out to be about 8 to 15 pounds. And they can kind of pick and choose between the two. But like I said, we've had people that have been there for a while, people that have lost 30, 40 pounds over the course of time. You see a lot, and even more than just the weight loss. You hear people talking about how it's changed their life because they're sleeping better. They're more confident at work. Their knee doesn't hurt anymore, that type of thing, because everybody comes to the gym for a combination. They want to perform better. They want to look better. They want to feel better, whether they admit that or not, right? Like it's going to fall into one of those categories. Most of the time people come in saying they want to look better, but the first thing they notice is how they feel better.
Right.
Right. And they're performing better, whatever it is. It can just be, our performance could be carrying groceries or playing with the kids, right?
Having more energy in life.
Absolutely.
Which I feel like that's what is kind of the biggest complaint of most people that I know of, like, oh my gosh, it's been such a long day and I'm exhausted and I've been sitting in an office at a desk all day and I'm exhausted, right?
Our bodies are not meant to sit all day,
right?
And it's hard, because I tell people, but the hardest part about working out, honestly, is getting there, right? Like once you get to the gym, people are like, okay, I'm here, I'm going to do this. And 9 times out of 10, they feel better when they leave, probably more than that, but give them the benefit of the doubt.
Especially in the winter. Yeah, you look out like, oh, geez, do I want to go out?
And you can't just get outside and walk all the time in the summer or during the winter like you can in the summer. And so, just moving your body, get the blood flowing, goes a long way.
Oh, right. I've been doing so good walking this year. And now that the weather's turned cold, I've just fallen off the wagon here. Yep. And for the record, even though I'm not a fitness person, I was on the high school track team, and I would always come dead last because somebody has to. But it's just a point of being on there.
Yes.
Participating
is good. And what I heard, one of the biggest thing I heard from you is that accountability aspect and that idea of someone being there at the gym to help push you, because so often, even when I go to the gym, and I think I push myself, but there's a big difference between I'm going to make it harder and someone's there to help me make it harder.
Right. And there's different ways to make it more difficult too. It doesn't always have to be more weight. It doesn't always have to be doing something faster, right? We can actually slow down the tempo. We can make an exercise a little bit more difficult, and it can suit your body. And there's just a lot of different ways to do that. But in the end, getting there is huge. Move the body and eat well, and then recover by sleeping, and you'll be good to go.
There you go.
And the trained professionals that at least are able to really maximize things for you and have the knowledge to do it safely and
keep you from injuring yourself. That's a big part, right?
And we've got a great team. We really do. We've expanded recently from a training standpoint, from a trainer standpoint, and everybody's awesome. It's a really good group of people in there now. So
wonderful. So for those that were to join over there, first off, what are your hours? And then how would they get in touch with you? Where would they start?
Okay, so to get started, LegacyCenterMichigan.com /fitness. Again, the link is in the show notes. And then as far as hours go, we start running groups at 6 a.m. All right. Typically people are there a little bit earlier. I'm always there by 5. So we have people that come in prior to the groups and get started. And then we are open. We run groups throughout the morning. We run 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 6, 7, 9, 9:30 morning groups. And then we run a 5 and a 6 o'clock in the evening. So there's options before work, after work. And then if you want to do personal training, there's times around that as well.
Great. And especially for any of the parents out there that have their kids in activities, it seems like a great opportunity for them to go and work on their own health as their kids are involved even too.
Yep. Drop them off at soccer. And, I get it as a parent, you want to watch your kid, but there comes a point where you need to go take care of yourself. So if you can drop them off, have a practice at 5, go work out, get done what you need to get done as well. Goes a long way. And the training camp groups that we run in the evenings are like 45 to 50 minute groups. So you can get the entire workout in during their practice.
Fantastic. What a great effective use of time, because that's frequently another New Year's resolution as well. We're hitting everything now.
We are in the New Year's resolution season, but and like we talked about before, we would love to have an influx in January, but we want to see consistent growth throughout the year. And we want those people that do start in January to still be with us next year at this time.
Absolutely. And even mid-year,
Yes,
if you're
exactly.
you're tuning in and this has been into the year, know that they are there, they're available, and you have people coming in all the time. So
Correct.
Yeah, and I just think the group fitness classes and going to a gym and having like-minded people, like you said, is so good because you can lose track of it at home. You have the best intentions, but having other people around you with the same intentions really does help.
Yep. I have a gym at home. I rarely use it. And we have a good number of people that come into Legacy that have plenty of equipment at home. And they're like, I can't make myself do it. They've been coming for years.
Right.
Legacy.
in terms of the real estate side, because we are realtors, we do see tons of homes that have a little fitness center, a little workout room. But I've got to tell you so many times that those sellers are ready, willing, and able to leave that equipment behind.
Yeah, it will. The treadmill very rarely leaves. It almost always stays with the house.
It's a coat, you sell it as a coat rack.
There you go.
Yeah, it gets crazy that way. So people have it in their head, but in terms of actually executing it, it sounds like, the people that come and use your fitness center there, they're really making a difference. And for somebody that wants to not just go through the motions and really wants results, that sounds like you're the place.
I would agree, yes.
Yep. And I love the 6-week challenge because everyone that joins a gym is motivated on that first day.
Yes.
And getting them to see that there's some forward progress in that first 30, to 45 days, I'm assuming is huge in saying, hey, you made it here. Now we can get there.
Absolutely. Yep. Quick results, and then they slow down a little bit, but they're consistent.
There you go.
Excellent. Well, that's the way of it here. I am so glad that we had a chance to have you come in and that you took the time to sit down with us and let us know everything about what Legacy is doing from the fitness angle of things and all these opportunities that people can to start feeling better right now, making a difference.
Yeah, I really appreciate the invitation. Hopefully got learned something from this. And if anybody has questions or anything, feel free to reach out. Like I said, the information's in the show notes. So,
well, no, thank you so much. Yeah, for everyone out there, please check the show notes. They're very easy to find online, find on Facebook. There's a lot of great resources there to be able to reach out to them and to get started. Check us out on our Facebook page, our Instagram, anywhere that you find your podcasts. You can find our podcasts and like and subscribe. So thank you so much again for joining us today. And thank you to all our listeners for listening today. Welcome to Livingston.